This show is messing with my mind so much. Like, I can't figure it out, and I know that means it's a good show, but it frustrates the crap out of me. Like, thumbs up if you can agree. Because every time I think I have it figured out, they throw all these curveballs at me. And my mind is like, it has to be Karen. But I'm like, oh my God, is that too easy? And I'm still holding out for Noah. I know like 2 people agree with me. But hey, no, the show has never made him look shady. They've never made him look suspicious. I mean, but there's so many things. And then that pig going down the hallway, that is, come on, that is pointing to Noah. Okay, all right, so Emma is not happy with Karen because who would be? I mean, he totally ratted her out to the sheriff, and he's still going back and talking to the sheriff about her, which makes him, yes, a total suspect, but it also makes it too easy, right? I don't know. I mean, I'm cool with Karen being one of the killers or the killer because he's the main character. He's one of the Lakewood Five. It makes sense, but at the same time, I'm hoping the show is smarter than that because it's too obvious to me, and as much as I love to figure out shows, I want to be shocked in a great way. And if they can shock me this season, like, oh my God, that'll just make my life. So, all right. The sheriff goes to look at that house on Troy James. I guess it's like Troy James' house and the pig farm and everything. And there's a picture of little Emma with a man, and his face is all scratched out. So as I've said from like, well, I don't know, the beginning of this season, Troy James is such a big figure in this season, and either we know him or he's going to appear near the end. So I really think he's her dad. That makes the most sense now. And there's stuff going on, like there's 2 storylines here, which I know people get confused, but there's like all kinds of stuff that happened in 94, like when the adults were teens, and there's that drama and those crimes and the Brandon James stuff, and then there's the current serial killer crimes, okay? So we have like kind of parallel storylines here. So Zoe, all right, I know she's on everyone's radar. She's mega, mega, mega suspicious, and I'm just getting the vibe she doesn't really care for Noah. It seems like she's totally using him. But it just, there's just too many things pointing to her. I really feel strongly that she's going to be one of our people because as you see, the difference between her and Karen, I think, is that it's not overly obvious. There's little subtle clues about her, and there's giant glaring stuff with Karen. I mean, I might be wrong. They might not be that smart with the reveal, but I just feel like it's too much. And I've seen season 1 and I kind of know how they work. But she was a big fan of Noah's podcast. It's really suspicious. And I kind of think she was working with Piper. I mean, so here's the thing. She tries to tell Noah that she was gone last year because she was at this space camp, but he calls her out because the space camp doesn't even go on when she claims she was there. And I guess Riley had like the same made up story from last season. So, ultra shady, So Brooke gets Audrey to come with her to go check on Branson, which who knows, I'm not really sure what they're going to find. But they find a completely clean room, and like some of his stuff was there, but he's gone. But someone they've put a camera in there and they're recording them. And you see that theme throughout the season, that people are being recorded, like in the barn with Jake. Where else was it? The storage locker. So we have to go back to the ultimate theme of this season, and that is a movie. We started out with a movie that was also the theme of Scream 2. Someone was making a movie that kind of paralleled what happened last season, right? Like a slasher film. So I definitely think in this season, at the end, we'll find out that someone was making a movie. That's why they're recording things. Someone's making a real life, like the ultimate reality movie. That's how I think that's all going to come together. So thumbs up if you agree. So Brooke, it's really weird to me that all the dead or severely injured people are texting Brooke because she's getting texts from Branson. We know he doesn't even have a hand to text her. I mean, maybe he can text with the other hand. I don't know. But, Jake was texting her. So they really love to mess with Brooke. And sometimes I sometimes have these thoughts. I'm like, oh my God, could she be one of the killers? Because she's been attacked like a ton of times. She never died. Everyone she loves is dead, So it's like, you're looking kind of shady. And that would be a good surprise for me. Like, I would be all about that because it's not obvious. So here's the deal with Miss Lang. Like, all right, I started thinking right off the bat, like, okay, she's not a suspect in this episode. So I don't know what she's doing. She's writing a book. Maybe she was putting the movie together, doing a documentary. She's an undercover cop. I don't know what she's doing. Maybe she's like from the mental hospital. She's a psychologist or something. She's not really a guidance counselor. So that's her agenda. It's not because she's a killer. So Eli is all over Emma in this episode, and I think he wants Karen to see that, and Karen does see that at the coffee shop, and then he leaves. And Eli is so over the top a red herring, and no, I don't think he's one of the killers. Like, it's just, they're throwing him around like they did with Stavo, and those are distractions. Alright, so the killer wants Audrey to come to the school because basically it's a setup, so she comes, and we'll get to what she finds in just a little bit. Okay, well, so that pig, like I talked about, the pig is like, the toy pig is rolling down the hallway of the school because it's a clue. Pigs, pigs, pigs. All right, yes, it's a Troy James clue, but it's also a Noah clue. Come on, do you feel me? They're trying to throw little clues, not big, crazy, like, oh my God, he's the killer clues. Little clues, that's what they do, all right? They want to know if you're paying attention. So Branson is still alive, as we figured out from last episode, and that's what the trap was at the school. And first, they're trying to set up Miss Lang because they want her dead too. And they show her Branson, and then Branson gets stabbed again. That poor guy has been tortured like crazy. And I was proud of Miss Lang for a minute because she was like all ninja and she, you know, was really fighting off the killer. But then we saw that the killer was mega strong and they body slammed her. And yeah, R.I.P. Miss Lang because she's gone. Okay, so Zoe is hanging out with Noah and she conveniently asks for some beers. And he goes away and she's snooping on his computer. Now I have a couple issues here with this. All right, there's a file marked Audrey. And at first I wasn't sure if he was, you know, unknowingly recording her confession. And if he did, then he's not going to save it and mark it Audrey. So that's another strike against you, Noah. That's shady, but low-key shady. Here we go again. How many times or how many things can we add up that's low-key shady that are little clues to Noah? You know, that is the difference between that and the Eli and Stavo stuff and really the Kieran stuff that is like over the top. Like, oh my God, flashing lights, that person's the killer. That means they're not. So, but what I can't figure out is who is the killer? Is it Zoe or is it Noah? They're not together. They're not working together. But basically, she emailed that to, I don't know, herself, the entire school, something. It's going to be bad for Audrey. She's going to look like the killer. They're going to make her look like the killer, okay? So, both of these people are very bad people. In my opinion, I mean, I think that was bad of Noah, to be honest. But maybe I can see this point of view that he was saving it as insurance in case she really ends up being the killer, and he has that proof just in case he wasn't sure he bought her story. So I can see it going either way. I can see him being innocent and just being the horror lover and not being a killer, and then I can see him being the freaking killer. Okay. So Eli wants to take Emma on a date and somehow she agrees, and he wants to take her to this model home that he's, I guess, hung out in before that's furnished and everything, and he wants to treat her to some dinner. And this is what made him look like so red herring because when they pan to the bathroom you see Eddie and Branson in the tub. So obviously the killer knows about this place, but that does not mean that Eli is the killer. Eli is throwing Kieran under the bus. He's like, oh my God, when he's here, he's basically like a different person. I don't even recognize the way he's acting. It's not normal. And he's trying to make him look so bad. Now, you can look at that a couple of ways. You can say Eli's the killer and he wants her to hate her boyfriend. You can say that Eli knows something shady about Kieran because he is the killer and he's warning her. Or you can say it's all kind of deception from the writers of the show to make us think Eli is the bad guy. So I want to know what you think. How did you interpret that? Let me know. But while they're in the house, someone sets fire to the house. And I'm going to shout out Ralph here, who comments a lot on my Scream videos. He thinks that this was Tina's doing. Tina is Eli's aunt. And, you know, Brooke's dad asked her to do something for him. Now, I don't think the two things are necessarily connected. Like, I think they needed to get rid of that home for whatever reason, but I don't think that means that Brooke's dad is the killer. And I don't think she realized that there were alive people in there. Thankfully, they did get out, but a lot of people think, oh my God, it was Kieran who set this fire. That's way too easy, okay? I think that it really makes sense that Tina did this, but not knowing that she would be killing a couple of other people. The thing is, Branson's actually not dead. This poor guy. But I really think he's dead after the fire. I just don't think he's going to make it. I really hope he's not. I don't see the point of keeping him around anymore, but I do feel bad for him. So if you haven't been to one of my live chats, I don't know what you've been thinking because it's so much fun. No, I know a lot of people have schedule conflicts and sometimes wherever you are in the world, it's like super late and you can't come, so I'm just being funny. But you can always watch them later because they show up as videos on my channel. But they're really fun because we can talk about all this stuff together and try to figure out who the killer or killers are together. So if you can make it to a live one and you can share your opinion or just listen, then, you know, I think you'll enjoy it. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I can't wait to, we're getting so close to finding out what's going to unfold this season, and I'm really excited. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.